Hi. So the year is 2018. Okay. It's a normal school day. I come home from school. I'm alone at home. So सबसे पहले switches Wi-Fi and computer के on हो गए, right? And I'm eating my food and खाना खा के जैसे ही होता है, I'm going to my computer straight playing games for God knows how many hours. And बहुत सारे games खेलता था मैं. अभी मुझे याद नहीं कौन से games थे. I probably have a list यहाँ कहीं तो I don't remember. But one of these days, I was playing Call of Duty game. I think it was Modern Warfare 2, the previous version. Uh, I think it was Modern Warfare 2. Uh, I'm playing as an American soldier. We have a ops mission. It's placed in some Middle Eastern country. Uh, Pretty good game. And I played this game for some 2-3 days, and I was really enjoying it. I'm invested into the game, and the game suddenly stops, freezes. I'm like, okay, koi baat nahi. We go to the desktop, and my entire PC is crashed. Now I don't know what happened. I overclocked the CPU, or my PC was a potato PC तभी के time पे, but okay, no problem. And it turns out it's irreparable. ऐसा damage हुआ है. Probably it had something to do with the monitor being old as well. So the entire rig हमें replace करना पड़ा and थोड़ा झटका पड़ा, and that was all due to me. I'm eking out इतना सारा performance from my computer, and तभी के time पे it took a lot of time to replace that computer, and I didn't have anything, you know, ऐसा एक passion या something that's piquing my interest, and मैं उसको पकड़ के I'll go full on into it, वही चीज़ करते रहूँ. तो other than games, I never really had anything तभी के time पे. So I was forced to come out of my shell of comfort zone and try to find something else. Then I actually got introduced to mobile gaming. I wasn't really a fan of mobile gaming in the sense, पहले के time पे auto run or something 2013 मेरे ख्याल से 2013 के आसपास auto run आया था. There was this good game, and so never really a fan of mobile gaming. But I was like, ठीक है, try करते हैं. Discord, I got introduced to Discord, and I started being very active with friends of mine there. And उसके बाद I got introduced to GFX, graphic designing. Now the graphic designing experience was very odd and a very cherished part of my life. I think it lasted around 3 years. कोविड के टाइम पे बहुत बहुत था, तो तभी मेरे पास कुछ था नहीं ज़्यादा करने के लिए, तो आई वॉज डूइंग ग्राफिक डिज़ाइनिंग मेरे फ़ोन पे. कंप्यूटर पे उतना आता नहीं था, बट फ्यू टच अप्स हियर एंड देयर तो वो कंप्यूटर पे हो जाते थे, एंड प्राइमरीली मेरे फ़ोन पे ही होता था. सो आई through repetition I grew so experienced in it, and I was pulling out so good क्या कहेंगे designs, and आज तक मेरे पास actually saved है. But it was good while it lasted. And then what happened was, then I started also playing on my tablet, Standoff 2. I think it's a purana game. I don't know अभी लोग खेलते हैं या नहीं, but तभी के time पे it was the rival of Critical Ops, C Ops. So these two games, they were like Messi and Ronaldo, and they were rivals. And सब लोग either fan base इधर होता then इधर होता, and Call of Duty तो बाद में आया. So I was invested in that game as well. तो टैबलेट में बहुत खेलता था मैं. एंड देन फिर GFX से एक वक्त वो दोनों को बैलेंस करके रहता था. सो आई हैव अ न्यू ऑब्सेशन, एंड दोनों ऑब्सेशंस बैलेंस होते थे, बिकॉज अगेन नेवर रियली हैड एनीथिंग other than those two in my life. Then what happened is I suddenly lost full interest in GFX. For some reason, why, I don't know. I used to do a lot of designs, but never really had any financial incentive or anything. We didn't have a paywall that I had set up so that my designs could be sold to other people, or nothing much. So there's this internal motivation factor. You wake up and you're like, no, this is what I want to do. This is it's my obsession that I have to do constantly, or maybe try a few new designs. That spark, it wasn't there in GFX anymore. I had been doing this for around 3 years or something, from 2018 to 2021. So then I'm like, okay, maybe this is a chance to start over, a new opportunity. So in our school, we had Scratch. I'm not sure if you people remember this or not. Scratch was basically a coding program. You can use logic you have blocks, and you can basically use programming logic and normal intuition that you would learn at school, and you could build programs on it, like simple programs. And we also had the boom of white hat junior in the covid era. अभी आई डोंट नो उसको बायजूस ने खरीद लिया, बट आई डोंट थिंक वो अभी एक्टिव है, क्या पता। तभी के टाइम पे तो इट वाज लाइक, बाद में तो दे डिबंक्ड एंड दे वर लाइक ये स्कैम भी है, हु नोस। आई नेवर got into those things because I was like, ठीक है ये सब क्या है, I'll try the big stuff altogether. So I went online and I'm like, okay, because it piqued my interest again. uh, Programming, I can build my own logic, I can basically execute anything I wanted to execute. A program could do that for me, automate it for me. I mean, I'm not using automate the word in its actual nuance here, but still. So again, a good thing, distraction away from GFX. So I dumped GFX and I'm like, ठीक है चलो इस पे करते हैं. And then again, the same pattern, the same thing. I obsessively delved, jumped head on into coding, programming. I learned Python, C hash, C hash या C sharp क्या कहते हैं, I think पता नहीं, I used to call it C hash. Then C++, basically high level programming. Java and Python were my two favorites, and बाकी सारे C++ and C sharp, I just learned them very basic, you know, like उसमें ज़्यादा जाने के लिए नहीं. Build a few programs here and there, and there was this inspiration that I chose Python for, and तभी टाइम पे artificial intelligence and ML NLP ये सब चीज़ें, you know, they were on the rise, and I was like, ठीक है उस पे भी try out करेंगे, but I wasn't that advanced, so I was focusing on smaller things, automating maybe Google searches, Wikipedia searches. I wasn't that much introduced to GitHub or anything, and so इसलिए तभी के टाइम पे even I was a kid, ठीक है, I wasn't this genius, neither, I don't think any of us are. uh, I don't know how we judge each other on that kind of metric. uh, but whatever happened, and then I started running into a lot of problems. There was my project Florence, she was my personal assistant that I created, and I also created Discord bots, a lot of them, for my personal use and my GFX hub as well. So I was bringing GFX work, and I was bringing my programming and trying to integrate both of them. Never really worked out. uh, I don't know what happened to my Discord bots, if they are even running now, or I haven't touched Discord since 5 years. uh, Same for GFX too. And so yeah, and programming, what happened was, I did a lot of things, but there was these problems that I used to get stuck on for two weeks maximum, and I lost all interest in programming. Then I started doing computer architecture here and then, of course, everything from a superficial level. कहते हैं ना, ऊपर ऊपर से इंसान देखता है. I'm not going underwater, I'm just at the surface, and I'm just mapping everything out. ठीक है, ये ऐसा है, वो ऐसा है. So nothing a lot serious. And फिर programming को I unfortunately had to dump again. So this is what, third, fourth obsession, I don't know. uh, why am I calling this obsession? Because it is like, you're doing something, but it's not sustainable. उस हिसाब से I'm saying it's an obsession. All these hobbies that I picked up, they were not sustainable at all. So it was suffocating, to say the least. I'm like, क्या मैं चीज़ों के साथ टिक नहीं पा रहा हूँ, या चीज़ें मेरे साथ टिक नहीं पा रहे. So there was always this sense of paranoia, कह सकते हैं, कि maybe I'm not built for anything. Maybe I'm not built for anything, I'm built for everything. Maybe I want to become a polymath, I want to do everything all at once right now. So you end up doing basically a whole bunch of nothing. Just you're going here, you're going there, when you want to be everywhere. It doesn't work out. So in that sense, I went everywhere. It never really worked out for me too. So after programming, I think this was 2022 or 21, I think programming जो मैंने छोड़ा around the same time मैंने जब GFX छोड़ा, because that year I did programming. um, After that I entered this transitional state, liminal state, I think you can call it. Never really did much or a serious hobby. I went back to games, my comfort zone. uh, I played this game. I revisited my game actually, Call of Duty World at War, and I was very Brezhnov or Rezhnov. I don't remember the commander's name, but I was very interested in Reichstag, uh, and of course the Soviet Union storylines and everything. And I went into that. I delved into that, and suddenly I found myself deluding myself into becoming a war historian. So again, I found something that was interesting to me. So suddenly I'm becoming very political of about all this history and everything. Then wo bhi zamana gaya, and again I was left with nothing. I am in this again a transitional phase where I don't want to do the past things that I have done. I'm leaving them as if they are not, that as if they're not a part of my identity, and I'm trying to figure out for new things, but nothing is coming. And again, there is no progress. This is just a limbo state, and I'm making no progress, but always thinking about the future, uh, refusing to reflect on the past. And it's kind of hazardous if you ask me. But these are all personal experiences. How do they tie with desires or feeding these compulsive desires, this dark passenger? um, but it's not really a passenger, it's driving the entire vehicle. So how does it tie into? Well, it does. I like to personalize my experiences in these things. Even when we speak about any experience that I shared, uh, through the lens, I can't just view it through a critical lens, because I think scrutiny requires, there's a touch of personalization there as well. I can't, and the major thing about it is, when I started doing these hobbies, and maybe I had always a cushion to fall back on, because if GFX didn't work out, then I can just go on to coding. I mean, of course, तभी के time पे I never knew कि आगे जाके ऐसा step आएगा, but it came, right? So I always had a cushion even after programming. Okay, if this does not work out, I'll fall down below and I'll pursue GFX instead. So all these things at the time, they seemed persuasive. I have a whole bunch of things planned out for me, and if I pursue a career or anything like that, when I do really need to get serious, that I'll lock in, and these past things will help me. And at least that was the plan. But it hasn't happened, because I vastly overestimated perhaps my ability to pursue something head down. And these aspects that I now see, they're all twisted, because my mind is invariably, it's twisted to the sense of perception that even if this doesn't work out, then I can always go out and see some other thing, or focus on some other thing. ये नहीं हुआ तो कोई बात नहीं, it's not a big deal. And you don't have to give your 100% on this. And this has created some sense of, I can't really give my 100%, I can't really give my all to one thing. एंड अगर मिस्टेक्स आते हैं या दिक्कत पड़ती है मुझे बीच में, तो मैं पूरी तरीके से उसे सॉल्व करने के लिए मेरे सारे रिसोर्सेज नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ, बिकॉज माइंड में ऐसा है कि बेस्ड ऑन माई पास्ट एक्सपीरियंसेस, माइंड में ऐसा है कि doesn't matter if things have gotten harder before, then, or maybe demotivated of sorts, then I have just switched things up entirely. And that is something which you can do with passion, which you can do with hobbies, but it's not something that you can do with your primary working environment. That's what I believe. You can't do it. You can't do these switchbacks. And so that's the kind of thing that I've just become used to in now, in everyday thinking. So breaking those things, breaking this dark hold that these things have these experiences, the way they've shaped me, it's harder to break their mold now. Perhaps if I would have recognized them pehle, or I would have had the awareness pehle, so it would have been better. But I was just chasing dopamine without direction. So I was just doing for the sake of fun, or just the sake of doing it. And I'm not going to say that it has not been efficient, but it certainly has been quite a blunder, a big blunder on my behalf. Actually, now that I think about it, all these things that I did, uh, apart from these few habits that I picked up, but baki sab, it's more like junk food for the mind. Not these hobbies in particular, but jumping ship from here and there and here and there. And as I keep, this is more like indulgence, not particularly following something very seriously, that इसमें serious होना है, इसमें आगे जाना है, depth में जाना है. नहीं, it's just like indulgence, because it's fast, it's accessible, it's has a good, uh, what can you say, flavor for repetition. बार बार इसमें dopamine वही तरह से hit होएगा जितने भी बार मैं repeat करूँ. There's no new things that you will discover when you keep repeating those things, मेरे लिए of course. But there's this still this sense, ठीक है मैं बार बार आऊँगा, I'll get this happiness out of it. I'm not going into the depths. Why? Because it requires patience, which is a virtue that I have struggled with a lot. It requires, full hearted belief that नहीं यही चीज़ है जो मुझे करना है, यही चीज़ 100% इसको देना है. I think the idea stems more from obsession. You just go do everything until it doesn't excite you anymore, and then you just leave it. So that has been the story for most of the things right now, what has happened. And it's quite unfortunate that a lot of these things, I could have gone pro, and I could have gone a lot deeper, but instead I try to, the foundation is shaky. Basically the foundation is very shaky. If you, कहते ना, अगर आप अपना घर दलदल पे बनाओगे तो फिर देन आपका घर सिंक ही होएगा, राइट? So it's like that, because these were all just escapes from the, क्या कह सकते, the emptiness that I wanted to run away from, because I need something to latch on to. Okay, I like all things secondary. Primary, choosing something primary, it's like, yeah, this is what I want to do, this is it. Exactly, that kind of choice is hard. It requires time, it requires a lot of things which are hard. And everything that is easy comes as a secondary package. And I think all these things that I did were just an escape from what I really wish to do. So इसीलिए उन्हें मैंने उनको देखा ही नहीं ऐसे कि these are all serious things, primary things है, तो उस हिसाब से वो कभी वो चीज़ बने ही नहीं. इसीलिए हर जैसे ऑब्स्टिकल्स आते रहे बीच में, अड़चने आते रहे, so the number one thing that I had was either to run away from those problems, try to tackle them, or if they're not solvable, then it doesn't matter, because I'm not going seriously into these things, right? So perspectives of course differ hote hai, but you get the gist, right? The more I fed these compulsive desires, the more I was like, okay, things just as they just as the dawn of hard things arises, I'll just switch things up entirely, go into something different, something new. So since I've been used to this kind of thing, it has made my life incredibly hard. And that's not something that I thought back in the day would happen to me at this stage that I am. It's not really a dark passenger of sorts. I'm just exaggerating it in a sense, but it's like it's harder to distinguish when I'm stuck in a problem. It's hard to let go of those preconceived notions of the things that I've actually experienced before. The mind is always like, okay, you can just start over, go into a different thing. and leave this thing entirely. It doesn't matter. There are no repercussions, no consequences, but there are, right? When I'm choosing a primary working environment, there are. And you don't always have a fallback. So consciously, when I have adapted to those things, it's harder to break that chain. It's harder to give yourself a new narrative when you've been using the same narrative for or half of your life. So yeah, again, it's harder to break. First of all, it's hard to just get the awareness of it. Then even harder breaking those things or trying to mend those things. But I think it's a continual process that we're trying to do. And I've been at it for so long. This entire liminal state, this transition phase that I've been in, it's just been an effort to change these things, to identify the faults, the cracks, where in the light the darkness is slipping in. uh, so yeah, maybe I'll repair that in a good way, and I think it should happen fairly soon. Just removing these pre-built things that I have, just demolishing them or mending, or the destructive ones, and the non-destructive ones, you could just mend them in a way. Or I think, but perhaps the best thing would be to just get used to new experiences. Just begin with a clean slate, and not let your things be predefined, and just forget these past experiences and take these new things in, or new hobbies, in a new way, different than what I have done before. Not because I'm doing this for fun, or maybe just चलो क्या हो जाएगा, ऐसे ही बस देख लेते हैं, we'll gain knowledge. Yes, those things are prevalent now, abhi bhi, but the stakes are much higher, and there's an entirely different course that I'm doing. I'm basing my life on it, degree and everything, right? तो वो सब में I can't take that chance. I can't just go in with an easy mindset, and I'm adapting. Adaptation leads to survival, and hopefully that's what I'm trying to do. Survival of the fittest, kind of. I mean, think about it, right? अगर मैं I'm stuck on a problem, coding problem, anything, मैं उसमें आगे नहीं पढ़ पा रहा हूँ. The if it was a primary concern for me, the course of action would be कि मैं वो चीज़ के पीछे बैठूँ, उसे समझूँ, उसके पीछे हद से ज़्यादा मेहनत करूँ, and after everything happens, I'll just be normal about it, and I'll be happy that I solved the problem. But I would go to it with the mindset कि नहीं, कि मुझे करना है, ये प्राइमरी है, मेरे लिए बहुत ज़रूरी है, और इसके सॉल्व करने वाला कोई है नहीं मेरे अलावा. So of course you would take more risks, more added risks, and do basically everything in your power. But with compulsion and these desires that you have, it's like you have the security of moving, your free flowing, you could say, right? Why stay and why feel something when you can move? And this kind of false security जो देता है, so it allows yourself to be more fluid, or you think you're being more fluid, but you're just suffering a loss एक हिसाब से, right? Because you're constantly jumping ship from here and there and here and there, and you're not really focusing on something that needs to be done, that you're dumping it, जो मेरे साथ हुआ. So that's unfortunate. I read this online. It was this quote that said, every time that we're jumping ship, we're reinforcing ourselves to say that nothing is worth staying for. कोई चीज़ इतनी ज़रूरी नहीं है जिसके लिए तुम्हें रुकने की ज़रूरत है, उसमें फुल तरीके से घुसने की ज़रूरत है. Not because it's true, of course it's untrue, but not because it's true, but because we haven't really stayed long enough to prove otherwise to our minds. So it struck home for me, because has happened with me for so many hobbies. And इस हिसाब से देखने जाए तो life kind of becomes shallow, not because it is, not because any of these activities or hobbies are shallow or bad or just time pass, but because you've created or put yourself in that situation for life to become shallow by design, because you're not focusing something as seriously as it should be, and you're just treating it as a backup option, or जस्ट ट्रांजिशन करने के लिए एक चीज़ से मन भर गया तो दूसरी चीज़ पे भागूंगा, उससे मन भर गया तो हो सकता है पास चीज़ पे जाओ, अगर पास चीज़ पे नहीं जाना है तो आई फाइंड अनदर ऑल्टरनेटिव, एंड यू आर जस्ट स्टक इन दिस बेसिकली दिस साइकिल ऑफ मन भर गया तो फेंक दो एंड कोई और चीज़ से स्टार्ट ओवर करो, एंड perhaps that maybe you're doing it under the disguise of a hobby, but for me it seems detrimental to my ability to be fully focused or connected with one thing and one thing in particular, because I can't just, because since I have had these experiences that इतना सारा करके मुझे छोड़ना पड़ा GFX and everything, and now 5 years later when I look back, थोड़ा hard लग रहा है इन चीज़ों पे वापस आना, and yeah मैं वापस आ रहा हूँ, I'm like मैंने इसमें इतना मेहनत किया है, so maybe I'll try it back. I'll make another video on programming. I want to share क्यों burnout हुआ, कैसे हुआ, एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा, तो वो चीज़ है थोड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग बात करने के लिए, बट I'm basically, involving new strategies, new things, and खुद को पहले mentally prepare करना वो बड़े से step के लिए, because I never thought वो चीज़ को जब मैंने abandon किया है तो मैं उससे वापस आ पाऊँगा, because this was what I was just a kid then, and तभी अगर तुम प्रॉब्लम पे स्टक हो गए, you had either Discord or Stack Overflow to ask your questions or anything, and if they aren't given the light of day, then you're just left to do trial and error and succeed on your own. So for a 12 or 13-year-old kid, that's kind of a little hard. I mean, I'm speaking for myself, of course. So for me it was pretty hard, because the amount of problems that I was encountering, I wasn't really well versed with everything. I just jumped in because of passion, right? Motivation के हिसाब से बस इंटरेस्टिंग दिखा तो घुस गया उसके अंदर, एंड तो इसीलिए I didn't really come from this technical background, but you did a lot of random things, and you built acumen along the way, and it turned out to be good. It laid these the seeds, and now a garden is sprouting up, hopefully, inshallah. We'll have to see, but all these experiences have taught me a lot of things, and now I'm more selective with the hobbies that I'm pursuing, and even if I am pursuing them, I'm trying to see that they'll have their length, they'll be lengthened, and ज़्यादा उनके साथ टिकूँ मैं, and this business that I had, लो लात मारो and मन भर गया तो साइड में कर दो, मैं वैसी कोई चीज़ बेसिकली मैं देख रहा हूँ कि कोई इतनी बड़ी चीज़ वो हद तक जाए ना, या वो लेवल तक पहुँचे ही ना. Most of these things जो अभी मैंने करने लिया after 2021, because of course times were different then, times are different now. So in that 5 years period, all the things that I've done, they are alhamdulillah, they're still with me, and उनसे अभी तक पेट नहीं भरा. So that's a good thing, that's a plus. But doing all these things, and inshallah all these things have been a pleasure. They are helping me invariably in one way or the other, but now with hindsight I am informed, enlightened on the matter. जब हो रहा होता हो तब you're like maybe nothing is meant for me, and उसके effects भी बहुत सारे थे, but you learn to get through it, and I certainly have. So yeah, it's just a learning experience still, and a lot more coming up. Yeah, I think that was it. उसके अलावा ज़्यादा कुछ है नहीं, बात actually है, but I've already stretched this video to what 20 minutes or something. I don't know, पता नहीं. So I'll stop here, and I'll speak about programming in some other video, and I have some videos जिनको मुझे बनाना है. I have some ideas for some videos, and we'll create that. Hopefully I'm not too much active abhi. I have a lot of work to do, and time pass वाला work, of course. जिस दिन मैं actual work करने लग गया तो फिर that'll be a treat. But anyways, I'll see you soon. Bye bye. Khuda Hafiz.